honestly, I've never had to work one of these before. So if I go on to anyone else's slide, I apologise. So my name is Lisa Marie, and I'm the founder and the CEO of an award-winning luxury interior design company based in Surrey. I'm a mum, a daughter, and a wife. And I'm here today because life happens and I became a mum. The last 10 years I've been in and out of business. I had my first business at the age of 21, and 2 years later it failed. It crashed, it burned. I learned so many lessons from that first business. I then decided to go into the world of construction through interior design. And I was in construction for about 8 years. I met 5 women in 8 years in construction. I learned from being in construction, I had to grow many layers of thick skin very, very fast. I was a woman in a man's world. I had to grow a lot of confidence. I had to hold my own across board tables, seminars, summits. And I couldn't show weakness, fear, or failure. 8 years moved along, and me and my husband decided to start for a child. Everyone was saying, come on, you're in your career now, you have to give something back to your family. We'd like a child to come along. It wasn't that simple for me. I had reached the absolute height of my career. I was completely visible in my industry. I had worked so hard to get to where I was. And I thought, if I give it all up now for a child, what's going to happen? I toyed with the fact of losing my visibility. Was I going to be forgotten? How would people perceive me in life? So, like I said, getting pregnant was not easy. We had many struggles, many operations. And finally, one day, after launching my second business, 3 months later I became pregnant. I thought, shit. I've not only launched my second business, but now I'm pregnant. Like, what do you do? So I thought, right, I'm going to tactically go for structuring out my pregnancy like I would in a business model. I mean, come on, how stupid was I to do? So I went through my pregnancy, I had everything planned. I read absolutely every single book about giving birth, how to manage being a mum and having a business. I put things in place for when this child was going to come along, that I would be able to enjoy a bit of motherhood and run my business, and it was all going to be absolutely fine and dandy. Well, it did not go to plan. 85.2 hours was what was on my hospital record for giving birth. 33 minutes was the time I got rushed into theatre and had my son. My journey into motherhood did not happen the way it had planned. And I still had calls and emails coming in from work that I was more interested in rather than wanting to start motherhood. My world had been rocked upside down in a way that nothing had prepared me for. I was left in hospital for 2 weeks with this child that was so ill and sick. I didn't know what to do. And all I could do was turn to my phone and answer emails because I thought that was normal. I thought that's what I had to do. I have a business, I needed to survive. I can't think about what had just gone on. The first 16 weeks of motherhood and running a business was a blur. There was no day or night. There was no purpose. There was no nothing. It was a roller coaster, one that I just didn't know how to get off. It was one morning in April, I had a horrendously bad night with my son. It was the longest night I've ever had. Must have had about 40 minutes of sleep. And I stumbled out of bed to go to the bathroom, and in a delirious state, I caught a reflection of a woman. And she stopped me in my tracks. She looked so sad, so pale, insignificant to life. She was unrecognizable. And as I started to look closer, this woman was me. Who am I? I thought, I've lost everything. I've lost my visibility. I've lost who I was. I did not recognize myself at all. And it was that day that I thought, something's got to change here. I haven't spent all these years as a strong, confident, independent woman to feel so low. So it took about a good 4 weeks to understand that what I'd just been through over the last 16 weeks wasn't stress or tiredness. I'd been through post-traumatic stress disorder. I'm suffering from postnatal depression. But it took a good 7 months after that to really understand myself and what I was doing. But I used my business to hide behind. And my business bumbled along, and it was okay. I had 1 or 2 clients in, and I knew that my business needed to change and I needed to change, but I didn't know how I needed to do that. And it was one December morning that I was, see, I've broken it, haven't I? It was one December morning that I just got up and I'd made Eden's bottle and I was scrolling through my Instagram feed, as you do. And it was this that stopped me in my tracks. Setting goals is the first step into turning the invisible into the visible. I'd spent the last 7 months trying to fight postnatal depression, feeling guilty, feeling lost, feeling like I was struggling, and I couldn't really open up to anyone because in the industry from where I'm from, you're not allowed to feel weak. You're not allowed to struggle. You have to fight. You have to be strong. You have to be confident. So with this quote, I thought, I need to put some proper goals in place here to feel strong again, to feel visible, to fight this and turn my business around. Otherwise, I'm going to fail for the second time round, and I'm not going to allow myself to fail twice. So I got myself out of the house and I walked up the high street, and the second thing happened to me that day. I walked past my favourite shop and turned my head, and standing in the window was those 4-letter words. What would Lisa do? I walked into that shop and I'd asked them to take that out of the window to bring it home. I said, I need that photo in that window. She said, well, it's a prop, you can't just take it. I said, well, I'll buy it. How much is it? Well, it's not for sale. I need it for my shop window. I begged her. I did not leave the shop without that quote. When my husband came home, it was already hanging up in the kitchen. Every morning, I make my coffee, my tea, and I say to myself, what's Lisa going to do today? How is she going to be a better person? What is she going to do for her business? And in December 2018, come New Year's Eve, I set a promise to myself, my husband, and my child that I am not going to allow this postnatal depression of guilt that we allow ourselves to feel, of fear of loss, go into 2019. And I said to myself, I'm going to connect. I'm going to grow my business, and I am going to succeed in this. So I wrote a list of what I wanted to do, and it's quite nice to have heard Michelle speak because I wrote a list of 6 women I wanted to ask for coffee and connect with. Those 6 women in 6 months have turned to 50 women already. I connected. I changed my mindset, and I thought, I'm going to set these goals. I'm not going to allow myself to feel insignificant anymore just because I have this feeling of fear, of guilt, of just sheer lack. And that's what I did. In January 2019, I stumbled across the Women in Business Club. I found Raymonda. And I connected with over 50 amazing women. I changed my mindset. I changed my mindset about life, positivity. I culled out the toxic people that I didn't need. I had a complete shift on marketing and social media. And here I am today. My business has been more successful in the last 5 months, turning into 6 figures, than it ever has been in 10 years. And it's because I changed my mind shift, my mindset, and I connected with women I needed to connect with. You see, sometimes when we are in business, we look for the wrong answers and we ask the wrong questions. And you need to begin with yourself. Change doesn't happen overnight. It's a journey. And that's what I had to go on. And I still am on this journey. I'm still on this journey of finding myself and finding my business. But I set myself affirmations and goals every single day to overcome that. And I stop and think to myself, if I never had postnatal depression, if I never felt so low, would my business be to where I am today? So I keep setting myself those goals. Every single month I connect with different women, I open up opportunities, I open up business opportunities, and it's led to a successful business. So I want all of you women in this room today to connect with 3, 5, 10 people a month and see where it leads you for your goals.